What's going on, guys? It's Silly12 here, coming at you with another video. And today we are going to start a series on the card, the Hog card. And today we're just gonna stick to the basics. And the first thing about Hog is making the deck. And so the Hog card is it's a very fast moving troop that targets buildings that, when used properly, will punish your opponent very, very well. It does 264 damage a hit, which is actually really good for the 4 elixir cost it is. You can get a lot of value, as you can see at tournament level. I have it level 7. And if you want to compare that, you can compare that to the Giant, which is also another card that's unlocked early. And at tournament level, it does 211 damage per hit. So the Hog does more damage for less elixir, also a little less tanky. So the differences between Hog and Giant, for example, is that the type of troops that they synergize with. So, for instance, the Giant will synergize as well with Wizard. You can do a Wizard Giant push, or you can do a Witch Giant, Executioner Giant, Baby Dragon Giant, Archer Giant maybe. Probably won't work out too well, but if you notice a pattern, if you're going down the beatdown path, the card synergies that go along with it tend to be more expensive than the actual card. The Hog is a little different. The Hog synergizes very well with cards that are cheaper than it, because when you are running a Hog deck, the whole point of a Hog deck is to play quickly. That is true for Hog Cycle, Hog Bait, even like those Hog Hybrid decks that I've showcased with you. It's sort of a quicker passive play style, if that makes any sense at all. So the Hog synergizes well with Ice Spirit, it synergizes well with Skeletons. You can do a Hog Skeleton push, they really have to answer that. It synergizes well with Ice Golem, Spear Gobs, Goblin Gang. Skeleton Army, not so much. It's something you could do. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It also synergizes well with Bomber, Knight, Archers, Mega Minion, sort of, Valk. I wouldn't recommend doing Baby Drag, but some people do it, as well as Musketeer. So all the cards that Hog synergizes with, fairly cheap and low cost. So when you're making a deck, keep that in mind. Oh, also I forgot minions. It synergizes well with all those. So because of this, your average elixir cost is going to be rather low. It will be generally anywhere from, I believe the most effective cycle deck that there is right now for Hog is 2.6. So it ranges anywhere from 2.6 all the way up to about 3.6 if you're running like a Rocket Hog bait deck, which is also really strong. And 3.6 is about as expensive as it gets. Now, whereas your typical Giant decks will usually range from 3.1 if you're running like a Hog Giant hybrid. So if we don't count that, they usually run anywhere from like 3.4 on up to the 4 point into the 4 elixir range. So that's sort of the basics of Hog, and you have to know how to synergize your Hog with the other cards. It's very rarely will you ever place Hog alone. That is not going to be part of the basic video that we were talking about today. That will probably be more intermediate or advanced. I haven't decided yet. So the card synergies, a very strong first opening push. It could be Hog, Fire Spirits, because what that makes them do is that if they place Cannon, for instance, The fire spirits will jump to the cannon and do so much damage to the cannon, and the hog will be left alone on the tower. Another strong push is hog goblins. Not something I usually do a lot because of a lot of people having log, but this is just a very basic deck that anybody can have. No legendaries, minimal rares. I only have two. You can also do hog minions. Very versatile cards. Synergizes well with a lot. We got Zap in there for the skeleton armies that could be used to counter your hog. It's very popular at the lower arenas, as well as at the higher arenas. If you're facing bait, and their Inferno is out of rotation, they'll usually drop like Skeleton Army or like Goblin Gang, and you can zap to take care of that. So we got arrows for like air troops. If you want to take out, say, a wizard, if you're running into a lot of problems with that, what you can do is that you can swap goblins for knight, or you can swap it for uh, ice golem. Both work well. I would go with knight, just personal preference. I think it's a better tank. It has more health, I believe. I can double check that right now. A little over 1,000. Way over 1,000. Yeah, okay, so it has more health. It also does damage. It's one elixir more. Not a big deal. 3.0 hog, still fairly solid. The current hog deck that I've been using, sorry, is 2.8. As long as you stay in like the low range, you should be fine. They're all gonna play a little differently. This is just like a template that you can use. A musketeer. If your musketeer is a low level and is constantly getting fireballed, uh, and like instantly, you can swap musketeer for archers. People are less likely to fireball archers, um, and yeah, people just in general, people are not very likely going to fireball archers. It's a negative elixir trade on their behalf, and it's something that very rarely will happen. So that's also another potential swap you can make. If you're running into a lot of beatdown, what the low cost of the hog deck allows you to do is that you can actually get two cannons on the map if you end up cycling fast enough, but that's a little beyond just the basics. So the basics are hog synergizes well with for instance in this deck, it synergizes well with all the cards in the deck, except for the cannon. I don't see how the hog could synergize with the cannon. For instance, you can play Hog, Zap Skeleton Army, or Reset Inferno. You can do Knight and then Hog behind, and what that will do is that will push the Knight forward alongside it, so the Knight is tanking for the Hog. You can do Hog Archers. Archers are also a very good defensive card. You can do Hog Fire Spirits, another good move that requires them to zap it or use something to block it unless they want to take a lot of damage to their tower, because fire spirits do a lot. You also have hog minions, which is also a very solid push, especially at the low arenas. It will require them maybe to drop like a wizard, but even if they drop a wizard, your hog will still be able to do about 400 damage at tournament level, maybe 600 depending on the timing on their part. And if they drop defenses, that's going to be another. I'm going to talk about that in another video. That's probably going to be that's probably going to be like the intermediate video. So this is just the very, very basics of playing hog decks, and this is a deck that you could use. There are some substitutions, like I said before. You could substitute fireball for arrows or poison. Really all depends on what you're running into. This is going to be the end video. This is Basilia12 signing off, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.